Hi, in this video we're going to have a look on how to use this Bitcoin cold storage generator. But before we go into this, I would like to speak a bit about the setup of this tool. Now obviously this is a web page and you can use it by just visiting the URL coinglacier.org. However, this is not the best setup. In fact, it is recommended to download this tool and run it locally. Now, if you want to use this wallet for a significant amount of Bitcoin, it is recommended to even use this tool on an air-gapped computer. By air-gapped, I basically mean that you should use a computer that is not connected to the internet. One of the best ways to achieve this is to set up a Linux live system on a pen drive. You could use a Ubuntu or whatever distribution you feel comfortable with. I think there is enough information out there for you to find out how to create a bootable USB pen drive, and therefore I'm not going to explain this here. However, the idea kind of looks like this. You boot from your fresh operating system, and then you have another pen drive with the coinglacier.org file on it, and then you would basically run this on the live system without ever connecting the live system to the internet, and you create your cold storage, and then as soon as you have finished the process, you can basically erase your pen drive, like format it so that really the operating system is gone and it has never ever had any connection to the internet. Now, in fact, there is a Linux distribution called Bitkey, and this is like, as you can see here, Secure Bitcoin Swiss Army Knife. So this is a bootable system, like I just explained, and there are some neat Bitcoin tools on it, also for cold storage. However, coinglacier.org is not installed on it yet, so we're not going to use Bitkey for this demo. However, I hope that soon coinglacier will make it to the Bitkey distribution. Here you can find even more information about what Bitkey is and how to secure air-gapped systems and so on. However, if you decide to use this distribution, of course, then you would be trusting Bitkey not to scam you. And as always in Bitcoin, of course, the best way is not to trust anybody, but to verify. And since this is open source, you can go on GitHub and make sure that this operating system is indeed trustworthy. Now let me show you how you can actually store the coinglacier.org file. Now if you listen closely, you heard that I said file and not files. That's because coinglacier.org was developed in a way that all the code is stored into one single HTML file. So you could technically just store this page here by hitting Ctrl S, and then you can store it to your local computer. However, if you do this, you have to be careful to choose HTML only, not complete, because while you're starting coinglacier.org, the JavaScript from the service changes some minor things in the HTML. So in order for it to work properly, you want to start it from the initial state. Okay, you can save this, and then you can go here and you can open it. And ta-da, it is loading, but it perfectly works. So you really only need this one single file and it works. So anyways, what I've just shown you is actually not the most secure way to store coinglacier.org. Instead, let's go to the project's GitHub repository, which you can find here, and see how they recommend to install the tool. So here you have it. And what differs is essentially that here we are actually proving that nobody has tampered with the file we are storing on our local computer. And if you're doing this on a Linux system, it is just as straightforward as copying these commands here. However, if you're using a Windows or a Mac OS, you have to download some additional tools. For Windows, that would be GPG for Win, this one. And for Mac OS, there is a GPG suit. Okay. However, since I'm using a Linux, we're just going through these steps quickly. I won't show you the whole installation here, but it's pretty straightforward and it's nicely explained what you're doing. So basically, you're downloading the GPG key from the author of coinglacier.org, and then you verify that this GPG key is really the one that you wanted to download, that nobody has tampered with the GPG key. And then you download both the tool, the one single page, this one here, as well as a GPG signature, and then you just verify the signature. And if the signature is correct, then you're good. However, if the verification fails, you should immediately stop the process, because something is going really wrong here. Also, when we're speaking about the setup, you should make sure that you're in a safe place, that nobody is watching you, there's no cameras around you, there's like nobody spying and stuff. And speaking of this, the best spy in your life is probably your own cell phone. So the easiest way to deal with this is just to turn off your phone while you're creating your cold storage. Okay, so I think that's enough for the setup. If you want to know more, maybe you should just read this README here, and then if there are further problems, you could discuss it on Bitcoin Talk. Okay, but let's go back to coinglacier.org and let's speak a little bit about this tool. Now, first of all, you should have a quick look on these symbols here. This is trying to make sure that you have set up your wallet nicely. Now, if any of these three shows an exclamation mark, you should stop and check what's the problem. Okay, now the first one already shows an exclamation mark, so let's click on it to see what's the problem. Okay, so the tool is guessing that we're actually running it from a live website, which of course is true, we're on the internet, but as I just explained, that's not the safest way to do it. So I'm going to turn off my internet for now. Okay, and now if I reload, there is no tool anymore, but luckily we have downloaded it before, so here you have it. I don't have any internet connection, but it works anyway. Now, as you can see, we don't have any exclamation mark here anymore, so yeah, it's good. We are doing as we should. The second one is that your tool verifies that your browser can actually generate secure random keys. If this fails, you should immediately stop and, use another browser. And then the third one are actually tests in order to check that everything works as expected. These tests here are all run automatically whenever you open the coinglacier.org file. However, there are more tests, and those are especially important for if you use password encryption for your private keys. Now, if you want to use password encrypted private keys, which I do recommend, then maybe you just run these tests too. However, this will reload your page with this parameter set, run all tests equals true, and this will take a long time because the private key encryption uses a lot of resources. So you might have to wait for like 5 minutes or something. But you only need to do this at the beginning, so once you've done it, you know that everything in your browser works fine. Now we actually have a problem here because this is going on forever. And whenever you have this problem, you can just hit F12 in Chrome, and then you can see on the console, you can see that there was an error. And then you will just wait forever, so because there's a problem and the tool is actually not doing anything anymore. In this case, the problem is that here in the file name we have this sign, this and sign, that should actually not be here. And if we open it now, then it works better. And again, we run all the encryption tests and it will be just quickly loading, and then we have the tests here, and now you can open it and check how it's doing. So now it's running more tests, and actually the browser is blocked quite a bit until this is done, so you just have to be patient. It's like 12 additional tests or something, and each of them takes quite some time. Okay, but in the end you just have to check that all the tests passed, and if there's one single test that did not pass, you should stop here and use another browser. Okay, so these are the security checks here, but now let's speak about the loading. So as you can see, when we restart the tool, it is loading here. And the question is, why does this take so long? Now on my computer it doesn't take that long because I have a very fast computer. For your computer it might take longer. But what it does in the background is that it calculates additional entropy and it then XORs this entropy with the entropy generated by getRandomValues. So in other words, it just tries to ensure that your random numbers are really random. And this is extremely important for cryptography, because if the random numbers are not truly random, then it would be very easy to find out your private keys.